my name is Chris Pancosta and welcome in this episode of Carving Pumpkins. So today I'm going to talk to you quickly about the best way to carve pumpkins with kids and different activities you could do and incorporate to extend the pumpkin process. So first, I have many different types of pumpkins here, as you can see. Small pumpkins, medium-sized pumpkins, large pumpkins which I'm carving, and pumpkins that are good specifically for cooking with, such as this guy here, which I think I bought at Safeway the other day. So, without further ado, there are safety. Safety is really important. So I purchased this little orange-handled kit of tools, which hasn't changed over the last 35 years pretty much, that I've used since I was a kid. And the knives, while they are good knives to use, and they do work really well for pumpkin carving, they're really dull. And they tend to, if you're not careful, they could bend really easy, like you can see, or they could break off. And then, well, you don't have a knife anymore. Kids can use these. I think they're made for kids to use, but always have adult supervision present and never let kids do this on their own. So that's that. And then I have the pumpkin spoon that kids like to use to dig out the pumpkin guts. So first thing to do is decide what kind of template or carving you want on your pumpkin. There are kits that include templates that you just cut out, and you would tape it on your pumpkin and then cut out the edges or the design, or you could just draw on a design. I just drew designs for the purpose of my family in this video. So what I did, this one is a happy pumpkin. My daughter is still under 3 years of age and not really into scary stuff. As you can see, that pumpkin, and I did the pumpkin. I have already carved out the pumpkin guts, as you can see, and I made the center really flat so that I could just put on a candle inside of it and it'll be just fine. This one I carved my daughter's name in, and later she and I will finish taking out the pumpkin guts. Pumpkins are related to squash, which is a natural thing that we eat. Pumpkin pie is made of pumpkin for the most part. And so one thing that you could do, let me just try and get this in there, is you could use the pumpkin guts to either make a food recipe such as a squash recipe or pumpkin pie or pumpkin mash, whatever you like pumpkin for. I would always use the pumpkin guts that are not being used for the sensory bin for people's hands to be in, because then that might not be sanitary. So always separate it. You could also use the pumpkin mash, like I just said, as a texture experience or a sensory bin experience activity for kids to do. By kids playing with the pumpkin guts, they are exploring different textures, and they are enhancing their fine and gross motor skills. So it's always a good thing. An example of a fine motor is just them squishing it in their hand. Gross motor would be where kids actually crawl through maybe a maze or something, and they have to crawl through the pumpkin guts in order to continue in the maze, or that's just an example that comes to mind that I've seen. But kids could do this for hours. I've seen it, trust me, working at different preschools and whatnot. And so I've talked about the pumpkin guts. Pumpkin seeds are good for cooking. As you can see, I have a lot of different seeds here that I've gotten from each of these pumpkins. I'm gonna probably roast these, and what I would do is I would finish taking the pumpkin guts out. I would wash them really well, and then I would put on this, and then I would cook them for 30 minutes at 300 degrees, and then I would pull them out and put on my favorite seasoning, probably salt, sugar, and cinnamon, and then I would put them back in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. Just make sure to keep an eye on it so that they don't burn. You don't want burned stuff. But pumpkin seeds are really healthy and good as a on-the-go type of snack. Anyway, so that's my pumpkin video for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. This video was brought to you by Why Play? We play, we learn. And don't forget, it is through play that children gain the necessary developmental skills for their lifelong growth and development. Thank you very much, and have a happy Halloween.